Before we even begin this video, I want to make it abundantly clear I did not want to make it. I was sincerely hoping I would be wrong and that I'd have to make a huge apology. But after looking at the evidence and the investigation that me and several others have conducted, making it as objective, truthful, and transparent to the best of our ability, this is what it came down to. I would advise that if you leave a comment that you watch the entire video from start to finish in order to be informed and to make a rational, coherent decision, rather than jumping to conclusions and being a reactionary. Zoey, if you are watching this, which I sincerely doubt, you brought this upon yourself. I first met Tender Shipping Fan in July 2018. It was over a spar on capital punishment, and we quickly became friends when we put our politics aside. When I first met her, we did not make the greatest impressions of one another. I referred to her as a stuck-up bitch. The following video is a response to a video I found from someone who commented on a very old video of mine about capital punishment. The original commenter was being kind of a condescending bitch, and I saw the video and it was rather irritating with the condescending tone she had throughout the whole thing. She implied that I was arrogant on capital punishment. But when we put our politics aside and got to know one another and got to talk about other things, we quickly got along and made a pretty interesting friendship. She made quick and great friendships with a lot of other people like Lapis, Owen, among others. She was open about the fact that she was a violent crime survivor, telling us a horrible story, perhaps one of the most gruesome I've ever heard in my short life, about her and her sister being murdered and sexually assaulted, and she's been very public about this. She has said it before on many streams, including some of my own, and trust me, it was hard to stomach and hard to hear. She also mentioned that she had a plethora of medical problems and would talk about various things about her personal life, some of which were probably a little TMI anyway.
Me and her made up, we talked it out. Now, because I'm becoming a father, she wanted to take my kid away.
Oh my god.
For herself, or she just didn't want you to have the kid?
She didn't want me to have my kid.
This is her face when she found out Brendan was having a
Wow.
I'll tell you why. This is the funniest reason why. Because I'm autistic and I can't handle having a kid.
What the fuck, dude?
This is her face when she realized.
Ben, move your mouse away from your Well,
Zoey, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Jesus Christ. Because you're autistic.
No, that pisses me
I want
off.
to know. I want to know what drugs this bitch is on now.
she's retarded herself.
I can't even tell you how much it hurts to hear you say that, because I had a horrible experience in my past, and I was basically like raped with a crowbar, and I lost my uterus, and I don't have the ability to have children, and I'm autistic, and I've literally had people told me that that's the best thing that could have happened to me.
Yeah, like I said, hard to stomach. One night in July or August of 2018, Zoey in the Poor Bastards group chat on Twitter asked for some advice as to how to deal with her medical problems. She claimed the hospital was going to throw her out after she had spent about a week or so in the hospital, and that they were going to be forcefully discharging her, and her insurance wasn't going to pay for it, or something to that effect. Everyone was panicking, trying to think of some solution for her, and advised her to open a GoFundMe. This image that you are seeing on your screen right now is perhaps one of the most important images you're going to see, as it provides a lot of context, and if you do not pay attention to this, you are doomed from the start of this video. The GoFundMe, which will be linked in the description, shows her actual name, so this is not doxing if you see her name on the GoFundMe. I searched Facebook and stumbled across her profile. It is public, and some of her stories and statements actually would contradict what she says on Twitter and YouTube. Her public Facebook contradicts what she says on Twitter and YouTube. So essentially she would be a chameleon, changing colors depending on the platform. Zoey was very public on YouTube about what happened to her, and I will get into that later as she makes a claim which almost, just from looking at it, is easily debunkable. She would tell us her name was Zoey, and she would point out all her names on the Dark Conservatarians live stream and in the private Twitter chat, which I didn't screen cap it because I didn't think that I would ever need to, although I have screen capped the entire chat regarding this one claim that she makes about her university that she's attending and the person that allegedly did this to her. Ollie, I like it, and if you guys don't, then you're all cunts.
Oh my god, I swear.
Taka Ali.
They're naming your boy Skylar.
You just doxed his first name, you bitch!
Oh please, you'd already doxed your own name.
All right.
You doxed your own name on these streams too, motherfucker.
Funny thing is, my name's not even Zoey, so fuck you.
You mentioned the other name though.
Yeah, I have people that call. I still have people that call me as. I have people that call me Esley. I have people that call me Ezzy. I have people that call me Zoey. I have people that call me Maggie. I have people that still call me Margaret.
You sound like you're rapping right now. I don't know why. Someone remixed that where she's saying her names. Zoey went from tender shipping fan to tender shipping gangster or something. And as for JJ, I remembered that she had mentioned her name in the group chat and on this stream. And I remembered that she had shown her last name on her GoFundMe. Truth be told, people have had suspicions about Zoey for a while, but they knew if they said anything, it would be a very unpopular move. So, by finding her last name on the GoFundMe, it didn't take much to just Google her name on Facebook, to use the Facebook search bar to find her profile and find that her stories were full of holes. Zoey would mention that she was a cancer survivor. She would mention all sorts of medical problems, saying that she had a seizure at school that was so severe she had injured her back or her neck, and that she needed to be in a neck brace. Yet on another stream she was walking just fine, and she did not have the brace on. She claimed that her legs had been crushed in a car crusher, or some instrument that would have paralyzed her from the rest of her life, yet there are pictures of her legs where they are not damaged at all. And she had been walking in my live stream held a few weeks ago, where she's walking just fine. On her Facebook, there's a picture of a leg that is presumably hers. It looks just fine. No injuries, no scars, nothing. This year has been a drama-filled year, no doubt about it. So when we met Zoey, we were hoping this could be evidence that this would be the end of all the drama that's been dominating 2018. I never imagined that Zoey would be the pathological liar she's been exposed to be. Now, remember when I said that I had screen capped the chat earlier in this video? Well, I wasn't lying. Here we go, everybody. The first screen cap I started to take of Zoey's claims was involving her mother, where Zoey claimed that she had stolen some of her GoFundMe money to go to the casino. Now, initially I'm thinking, what the fuck? Why? But she had stated at the same time that her mother had encouraged her to get the GoFundMe, and we weren't initially aware that she had actually had access to get the GoFundMe money to begin with. Zoey, that is. So that was one thing that sent a red flag. The following screenshots were taken after I was informed that Zoey was lying, and one of the screen caps will be accompanied with a clip from one of my live streams that I took down as I felt like it had embarrassed Zoey. This was the second time I had to do it, so I will show the second video and then the first, as that has some relevance into all of this. Honestly, there's no fucking way possible they would have allowed this to happen. She would have been notified of his release. There would probably be a permanent restraining order. There's no fucking way they would allow someone that did something of that nature around her, or even in a class in general. Seriously. Now for the clip involving the alleged gunshots.
Dislike him so much. At first,
Geek's the type of dude. Oh, sorry, yeah.
at first I liked Geek, but then
Same.
but then he started.
Holy shit! Hold on,
What?
guys, hold on. I just heard gunfire. Hold on.
Wait, what?
What?
She heard gunfire.
Don't.
Now, in hindsight, I will admit that we should have been a little more skeptical. None of us heard gunshots. Not a single one of us actually heard gunfire. The only person that said they heard gunfire was Zoey, who was on the furthest left of the screen here.
Investigate.
Don't
leave the house.
Yeah,
don't leave
Yeah,
the
just
house.
stay in your
Call
house.
the police. Stay in
Yeah,
the house.
Don't leave the house.
Zoey, are you there?
Investigate. Stay where you are.
Are you there?
Zoe, are you there? Please respond. Zoe! Zoe!
Zoey, are you okay?
Alright, I'm really creeped out now.
Yeah, same.
She probably walked away from her.
I will admit, at the time, I was afraid that she'd potentially been shot or something had happened. But in hindsight, I re-listened to this. I never heard any gunshots. If there were gunshots, we would have heard it.
Her computer
Her
is
mic's not,
looking
her
around.
mic's not,
She might have just
Her
walked
mic's
away
not
from her
muted.
computer.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god, there is a bullet hole in my door!
Zoey, call the cops.
Shit!
Call the
Call
cops.
the cops. Call the
Lock your
police.
doors, call the,
Call the police
lock your
ASAP.
doors, call the cops, and isolate yourself, okay?
Oh my
Yeah.
fucking god. Why does this always happen when I'm home alone? Oh my fucking god. Hold on.
Call the police now.
Lock the doors,
And
call the
hide
cops, and
someone.
isolate yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, isolate yourself somewhere.
Yeah.
It
The thing is, my front door doesn't have a lock on it.
Oh shit.
Do you have any form of weapon at all? If you can, get one, then hide.
I have
Get a
kitchen
knife or
knives,
something.
and that's
Hey,
about it.
guys,
Yes,
everyone-
get a kitchen knife.
everyone shut the fuck up. Zoe, call the police. And yeah, I mean, fuck, just hang up from this fucking
I actually
hangout.
did hear
Call-
the gun.
call the
I actually
police.
heard the gunshot.
Now, obviously, Zoey was very shaken up at the time. At least, we thought she was. So, when the stream was over, we decided that we needed to calm her down and reassure her that everything was going to be okay. She never did show the bullet holes in the door to us via turning on her phone's camera. She did DM me a picture of her alleged door. I shared it with everyone, and they determined by using a Google search that it was a fake and ripped from Google, or she could have edited it with a Photoshop program, as I was linked to it by another individual who I will not name, in order to just focus on the actions of Zoey in this instance. And to be completely honest, throughout the time I knew her, it was always weird. There was always something bad happening. There was always something going on. And the reason I mentioned the whole cancer thing, I knew someone who had cancer when she gave birth to twins, and she had defeated cancer, and it came back decades later, and she did not survive. Now, I know there is a difference between that person who was 80 years old and Zoey who's only 24 years old, but still, if she had a return of cancer, she probably would not be able to do this whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god, there is a bullet hole in my door!
Zoey, call the cops.
Shit!
Call the
Call the
cops.
cops.
Camera.
Call the
Lock your
police.
doors, call the,
Call the
lock
police
your
ASAP.
doors, call the cops, and isolate yourself, okay?
Oh my
Yeah.
fucking god. Why does this always happen when I'm home alone? Oh my fucking god. Hold on.
Call the police now.
Lock the doors,
And
call the
hide
cops, and
someone.
isolate yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, isolate yourself somewhere.
Yeah.
It
The
is.
thing is, my front door doesn't have a lock on it.
Wait a minute. You said your door does not have a lock, yet when we look at the image, it has a lock on the door. How the actual fuck does that work then? Now, the GoFundMe picture with the leg. After doing initial digging, that photo appears to be genuine. I do not doubt it. I asked others to do it themselves to see if they could find anything, and they came to the same conclusion that that photo is in fact of her leg, and it is not something ripped from Google. But we had to cross our T's and dot our I's. Now, I just remembered something I really need to mention. So, Zoey was talking about how people would say, you don't really need a wheelchair because she could walk to an extent, but she needed it because she couldn't stand for very long. I question everything that she is saying because of the fact of the matter being that if she is lying about the fact a shooting happened, if she's lying about her university allegedly bringing in her attacker into the fucking classroom, then what else could she be lying about? And also, how the fuck would they know who did it? Unless this was statewide news in the state of Indiana, and even then, why would they bring him in? It would make no sense. One of the most difficult parts about making this video is trying to reveal as little information about Zoey's family as possible, while exposing the truth as much as I can. And a quick little update to explain what has been going on since the beginning of the making of this video, which was September 1st. A lot of us started to ask Zoey in private what was the issue with the discrepancies in her stories, and apparently, after a bit of pressure from the questions that we were asking, she deleted her Twitter. We tried to the best of our ability to frame the question in a way where it wouldn't come off as rude or disrespectful, but there's only so much you can do in that regard. Also, let's be real here for a second. How suspicious does it look to delete your Twitter after getting some questions in regards to your discrepancies in your story? It does not look good. I checked my Discord to see if Zoey deleted her Discord as well. She is in my server, and she left an explanation, and I call that into question considering the amount of evidence to disprove or simple questions to call into question the validity of her story. When I looked at Zoey's Facebook, I noticed the family list. All her sisters are actually alive, and there is a wedding photo where they were all there. There are family photos with all of them, one by one, taking a picture with Zoey's father. I cannot show a majority of it, as I'd have to censor so much of those pictures, it defeats the purpose of showing them to begin with. There are also pictures of Zoey as a little kid. Around the time of the incident, which she said she was born in 1994, on her Facebook and in DMs, and she said she was 10 when this happened, so this would have taken place around July of 2004. When there was a picture of her around that time, she looks fine. If the attack had happened with the brutality she described, she would be a vegetable. And keep in mind, the image was taken after the attack. And in all honesty, it sucks to say this at all, but I feel the moral and, in all honesty, the legal obligation to make this video, to expose someone who is scamming people via their GoFundMe. And also, before anyone says I'm being mean, let's put all these things into perspective. If she's willing to lie about the shooting, the neck brace, the university, and her family, if she's willing to make up all these stories of all these things happening within a 2 to 3 week period, what is she not lying about? I did further research, and I found out which sister Zoey would likely claim is dead. There's one in particular which on Zoey's profile there's no trace of, but the woman is listed as Zoey's father's daughter on her father's Facebook, logically leading me to conclude that that would be one of Zoey's sisters. But this is speculation on this front, as Zoey does not have the sister listed at all on her Facebook, but it is on her father's Facebook. Just a theory. I joined a stream by HUMANE Mind on September 4th, 2018 to discuss politics, and I left about an hour in order to join Chairview and Brandon Paget in what could be summed up as allowing Zoey to defend herself and us to confront her on these issues while I was making this video. Some important questions were asked, and it still left us scratching our heads in the hangout. I asked her about the door, and she responded by saying that she panicked after the alleged shooting and ripped an image from Google and sent it to me, as she thought we wouldn't believe her, which made no sense, as she could have just taken a pic of the actual door, or just said no, although it still looked suspicious. And it was such an easy lie to prove, considering that if you literally take that image and you run it through Google, they will pull up what they think you're trying to look for, and you'll see the exact door. We asked about why there was no articles about the shooting, and Zoey claimed it wasn't reported, yet we found an article covering crimes in her town that she claimed not to know about, and found that they covered simple assault cases. Then how in the fuck would they not cover a shooting? She claimed that someone had been shot and was likely dead. At the time she said the person was dead, and that police were everywhere. And still, how the fuck would this not get out to the media? What the fuck would have to happen to cause this to reach the media? After having to grill her on this for quite a while, she finally conceded it. As to the alleged attacker being brought to her campus, sex offenders aren't allowed anywhere near a campus or educational institution, and the chances of this not making national news is slim to none. After a while, the hangout got too heated and Zoey just left. And then I returned to HUMANE's stream where he was still live, and when the stream went off air, we returned to discussing what we knew about this mess. HUMANE and I started digging around medical statistics and the laws of the state of Indiana and Illinois, along with re-listening to one stream where she mentioned her legs and Chicago. HUMANE pointed out some very interesting points with me, and he said, and I quote, "According to her story, there are at least 4 reasons why, even if her claim of the lesser sentence being accurate, both men would have to register as sex offenders." He linked me to an article, which I will link in the description, along with a few others, on laws regarding sex offender laws in the states of Indiana and Illinois. He then later said, wait, what the fuck? Later on, she did say that the incident occurred in Chicago. Why the fuck would Indiana law have any bearing on anything involving the sentencing or parole of her alleged attackers? Search for her name in the Illinois court reports. I couldn't find anything on her supposed case, and considering the amount of cases that were big stories in Indiana and Illinois, you would think that a kidnapping, torture, rape, murder case would have gotten as much or more attention than those other stories. End quote. I tried looking up a case where Mike Pence did anything regarding sex offender laws in the state of Indiana, and I looked at the state of Illinois as well, and found nothing. Mike Pence altered sex offender laws, but not in the way Zoey claimed that he did. I'm going to show you all the clips now where she mentions her legs and Chicago.
Oh.
The main reason, I guess, my mom wanted the death penalty, and the main reason for that being is, I guess, the best way I can describe it is I was forcefully I was basically raped with a crowbar, and in doing that I lost my uterus. My uterus was so badly damaged that it had to be removed, and so I can't physically have children. And that besides the fact that, you know, they murdered one of her daughters, that tore her up so bad, because I had 12 skull fractures, both legs were broken. They put our knees in like sort of like this thing that like mimics a car compactor. So like our knees were like broken and facing backwards.
Fuck.
They broke both of our shoulders had been like popped back like chicken wings. So like,
and they tried to use drugs as a defense for that.
There's
clear intent in there. You can't.
You're saying one of them is out.
That's not doing a mess.
Yeah, actually, the thing that bothers me the most is both of them were charged. Both of them, you know, raped us on more than one occasion, and I don't know why. But the one who's out on parole right now, his rape got dropped to sexual assault on a minor. And because of that, because in my state that's a misdemeanor, he no longer has to register as a sex offender.
That's a misdemeanor?
In my state it is now.
That is,
After Mike Pence changed that. That to a misdemeanor.
I fucking hate Mike Pence.
What?
And because of that, he no longer has to register as a sex offender.
Okay, this is
now I think.
How does he not have to register?
Because if you only have sexual assault on a minor after a certain amount of years, because it's now, at least in, I don't know if it's throughout the entire state. I know it's in this county.
That's worse than a sexual assault on an adult.
Yeah.
Well,
How is that a misdemeanor?
I don't know, but because of that, I think for the first, 2 or 3 years in this county, you have to register as a sex offender, and after that, it's expunged from your record.
No, that's
Now I will say this, and this is not defending Mike Pence, mind you. This is just a lesson in civics. Mike Pence himself did not do that. That was your state legislature that passed that.
That's true.
So there's a whole bunch of motherfuckers in there. I'm not defending the man, mind you.
Wow.
This
I would
is the way
normally
I look
defend
at
the man, but that seems like something completely.
This is the way I look at. This is the way I look at like. So okay.
There's
the damage. Yet again, it's subjective. God damn.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I guess I'm just on the wrong side with the whole, not supporting an eye for an eye kind of thing.
No, not at all.
Well, here's the thing. Philosophically, I support the death penalty, and like Sparky, I don't agree with how it's carried out in practice. However, I've met people who have been sexually assaulted. I knew someone. She was 13. The dude was 18. He got 6 months with work release, and her dad was nearly arrested for going to the guy's house with the intent to kill him.
Yeah, so was mine.
I support him.
Yeah. Honestly, I couldn't blame him. I mean, here's the thing: if my kid had gone through that, I would be in prison for life for probably going to the dude's house and ramming my car through the front of the house. Fuck it.
during the trial that I had, my dad was actually forcefully ejected from the courtroom because he was literally this close to literally, because my dad is 6'5" and was almost 500 pounds. I mean, he would snap that fucker's neck.
That's man mode there. That's good shit.
Because at the time then I was his only.
Yeah.
I was his only surviving daughter, and I'm a girl. I've always been kind of a daddy's girl. Allergic to dogs, too. So he got me a rabbit.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
right on.
people get attached to stuff. You ever seen an older guy with his nice Corvette? He gets
Oh, no,
put
no,
in
no,
on it
no.
and gets pissed off. That's
They're
just
not
a car.
attached to the
That's
Corvette.
not even alive.
They're not attached to the Corvette. They're attached to the skanks that it'll attract.
I just got a text message from somebody. I have two people that I go to school with who they're gonna be married, and their biological brother and sister. And I just got a text message saying she just went into labor. So
Put your sister to the test.
Wait, what?
we have an entire county in Indiana that's called Stark County, and it's known as the incest. It's known as the incest county.
Where that's
because-
legal?
They do it on
Yeah,
game.
I don't literally know anybody who hasn't fucked either a cousin or their brother. Or sister.
Fire and Fury, everyone. Fire and Fury over there.
You can't keep it in your pants. At least keep it in the family, I guess. Fuck.
I thought there was federal laws against that, but that seems like that's something.
Yeah.
That,
I don't know if there are. If there are that county just doesn't care.
Maybe just ignore it.
That county is known for being that county is the epitome of redneck, i.e. like sitting in the rocking chair with the banjo and the shotgun and.
Hey, you are now attacking my favorite pastime. I love sitting
there
on
are plenty of counties that allow second cousins to marry, but I've never heard of one that allows brother and sister or first cousin. That's
like what?
I don't know if it's actually allowed or if they just don't.
So in that county, is everybody deformed? And that kind of puts some light onto how those monsters did what they did, and if they're the product of incest. I'm like, a little more understandable how a
sometimes mentally. No, at the time that occurred, I was living in Chicago.
Sorry those clips were really long, but I needed to include the context. So, which is it, Zoe? Did it happen in Illinois or Indiana? Because if it happened in Illinois, then Indiana's laws have no bearing on this, and Mike Pence is not the governor of Illinois. He was never governor of two states. Sam Houston is the only person in American history to have been governor of two states in the United States. And that was a long-ass time ago. None of us were born then. And in all honesty, with her making all these claims about her health, she was saying that she had kidney failure, which, like I mentioned before with my grandmother having cancer, I had an aunt who had kidney failure and she had dialysis and died within a year of being diagnosed. If Zoe had kidney failure, if she had cancer like she said, she would not be able to do this whatsoever. She would be in constant pain and we would be able to tell in her voice. It's honestly weird how we didn't see this before. And honestly, I wish we would have been more skeptical of her claims. Because if her knees and legs were as damaged as she said they were, she would not be able to walk. If her skull was fractured as badly as she said, she would be in a wheelchair, mentally handicapped. If she had the seizures that she said she did, she wouldn't be able to fucking drive. Yet, she's able to do all these things despite all those health problems. The chances of surviving kidney failure is pretty low. Top that with cancer and all these other claims, yeah, she's a medical miracle if any of this is true. And if this is true, I will happily retract everything I said, if it can be proven false. And you know, I just gotta get this off of my chest. The one thing that would annoy me about Zoe a lot is we'd be talking about something and she'd find somehow, some way to make it about her and what she went through. While, you know, those who go through that type of thing I feel bad for, you don't need to tell everyone every single time, especially when we've heard it before. And the way she'd be so open about it and how she'd talk about it, most people, when they talk about this, it's hard. Most people wouldn't even discuss this unless it's with their therapist. And then she would get herself thrown into other people's drama. Here's the first stream that I had to take down because Zoe allegedly had a panic or anxiety attack in the stream, and honestly, that was really hard to hear at the time. Here it goes, everyone.
Yes, yeah, there is no debate. I'm not a racist.
Yeah.
Zoe,
Look at your
Zoe,
screenshots. No,
I
racists
sincerely
don't say
believe
that.
that you should probably leave this chat and like,
Ham,
take a day off from this internet.
It's quite clear.
For anyone who's been following my YouTube channel for a while, they are probably aware of BaconGate. I'll leave a link to it in the description. This was the continuation of it in the sense that Lapis had kicked CultofHam from the Poor Bastards group chat and rather lied about it at the time, acting as if she didn't know who had done that and claimed that she had been kicked herself. It caused a huge brouhaha between Lapis and Owen and Ham, where Lapis and Ham blocked one another. They have since resolved this. However, when I posted the link to this stream that I've just shown you guys, Secular Hawk was the first one to join, then others would join, and it turns into a disaster about halfway through. In all honesty, I completely agreed with CultofHam. I felt tempted to actually kick Zoe from the hangout, although I knew this would be extremely unpopular. I also knew that she would then blame herself and make more assumptions and make me feel bad, and it would cause even more drama than was already going down on the stream.
That you can't refrain yourself.
Hey, Owen, how about you shut the fuck up as I
doesn't matter what you have to say.
Talk to Zoe. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you.
This person.
Owen, you will get your chance.
I can't even hear you. Everyone.
There's no debate.
Hey, Zoe.
Everyone, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to hear one person at a fucking time.
There's no debate to be had. I don't even know why Ham is here because we don't need to listen.
I was not talking.
Everyone,
your opinion doesn't matter, Ham. Your opinion does not matter because you are racist.
Just stop. Honestly, why don't you ever just have a bit of compassion and just stop arguing and shouting all the time when someone who's obviously in a lot of pain needs help?
I'm literally trying to help. I'm literally trying to talk to Zoe.
What on
You
earth
aren't at all, Ham.
has been doing, Ham?
Ham, all you've done is cause bigotry and pain throughout this group. Essentially, your racism and your xenophobia.
Zoe, please leave. Just turn the internet off. Internet off. For a day.
X-Man, remove him. Listen to him. He's awful.
So
Boot him out.
why don't we
Good.
go on a private hangout? I don't think this one is going to go anywhere.
I just want everything to.
Looking back on this, I cannot tell you with words how much this pisses me off to listen to this stream. Zoe did not need to get herself involved in this drama. She chose to do so. After the stream ended, because I was backed into a corner and I lost my patience, so I kicked Ham to get Owen to shut the fuck up, and because I didn't want to hear Zoe crying on my fucking stream. So I ended the stream, and things got really fucked up afterwards. Zoe sounded like she was having a panic or anxiety attack. Beyond that, I cannot reveal what else happened because it still fucks with my head having seen that. You know what? I should just take the fucking hat off. I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point. I mean, when I was first told about these accusations against Zoe, I was thinking, I was hoping, really hoping, that they were flawed, that we could just poke a hole in it, we'd realize, oh, we've made a mistake, we can move on. But as time went on and I was shown more evidence, and I was shown, more, inconsistencies in her stories, and shown more evidence against her, especially the Facebook page, I knew we had her dead to rights. When we got her to admit that the door she sent to us in DMs was not her door, we had her dead to rights. When she confessed, that was all we needed. Nothing else. This year's been a largely disappointing year, in all honesty. It's been a drama-filled year, and I was hoping it wouldn't be that way, and I was hoping when we met Zoe, maybe this could all just go the fuck away, but if you notice my interactions with fucking Owen, among other people, that's expecting, healthcare to be a good thing in the United States, or at least the quality of it right now. in all honesty, when I met Zoey, you know, I didn't really have a good opinion of her. Then it turns better. I'm thinking, you know, I would not imagine a million years she'd stab us in the back. And imagine my motherfucking shock when it happened. It was disappointing when I found out. It really, really was. But, you know, it didn't shock me. Because I'm just going to be completely straight up. I'm numb at this point. If I find out you backstabbed me, I'm not going to be like, oh, how could they? I'm just going to cut you out of my life. I had a person stab me in the back in June. And as soon as I found out, because my best friend texted me and told me, and as soon as I found out, blocked on everything, that person cannot contact me ever again. You know, I understand a little white lie doesn't hurt anybody. Like, if you lied about how your day was, I don't really care. It might be a little concerning if you do have mental health problems, but if not, then it's a little white lie. But if you're going to lie about being raped, you're going to lie about being maimed, you're going to lie about your sister's murder, you're going to fucking lie about having cancer and kidney failure. And I knew people who fucking suffered from these things, who tried to fight this to the best of their ability, and they're not here today. And throughout the time they were suffering from these things, it was obvious they were in pain. And to have some fuckwit lie about this is bullshit. Anyone at all, if you ever lie to me, or anyone for that matter, about having some type of illness, fuck you and get out of my life. How the fuck can you call yourself a good person and do this shit and not think, I'm doing something rather unethical? I've never been able to grasp that at all. You know. And the embarrassing part is that we just fucking fell hook, line, and sinker for her claims. You know, when she was saying HUMANE Mind had said that she was e-begging and told her to stop. Yet on the same fucking stream where she mentions where this supposedly happened, you could hear HUMANE saying, I'm glad you're trying to be as independent as you can, and that he understood why she created the GoFundMe. And fucking CultofHam fell for it, just blocked HUMANE. We never saw a screen cap of HUMANE say this. I have a screen cap of HUMANE saying the exact opposite. We just believed what this bitch was saying and we didn't question it. What the fuck could she have said before people would have said, you know, what's the chances of that happening? I think the final straw was the shooting. I really think that was the final straw. You know, I understand sometimes people might misremember something, but it can't be to the fucking extent she said. You know, we caught her on the alleged, on the lies about being raped. We caught her on the lies of the law being changed on this subject. We caught her on the lies of the alleged shooting, the crime statistics, and the fact that that city was ranked 28% safer than a majority of cities in the United fucking States. If you're gonna fucking tell us a lie, tell us a good one. For fuck's sake. And then she's gonna admit this and say, I panicked. I sent a fake Google image to you because I panicked. What the fuck? You couldn't have just shown us the door? I'm assuming in that picture, wouldn't the bullets have gone through the door? You couldn't have taken a picture from the inside? What the fuck are you on about? And to have her just continuously act as if she's innocent is fucking gross. I've never been able to grasp that with her, in realizing that. Her fake fucking cries are so disgusting and so just fucking vile. And the thing is that really fucking irritates me is the fact she would always get involved in, you know, our squabbles when she had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Why the fuck did you need to get involved with Ham and Owen's autistic screeching, for fuck's sake? I don't get that. I just don't. You know, you could have just said to us, you know, guys, let's stop it. But you would also go in and make it to be about you. To make yourself the center of attention. And I can't blame people who would leave the streams because you'd always fucking cry. And you can tell us you're autistic and everything. That doesn't mean shit. Shit about anything. There are people I know who are autistic. Loudmouth Reviews and the Incredible Aspie. They are an example. There are people I know who are autistic, who whenever I'm in a call with them, if they get emotional, they'll just leave a message in the side chat saying, hey, I'm getting emotional, I gotta go. You know. Zoey, I think you're smart. The university, I don't know what university you're attending. I don't want to know. And I'm, for the record, not editing out any of this out because I don't want to make this not feel genuine. I think you're a smart girl. I mean, you manipulated the fuck out of us. A lot of people. You know, I believe you are going to the university you're saying you're going to. I don't know which one it is. I don't want to know. But I think you're genuine. You showed pictures of yourself in the fucking classroom. But I thought that with the type of education you said you've gotten and the intelligence you have, that you'd be smart enough to realize that telling such big lies, you're going to have to keep all those lies. Constantly, one by one, you'd have to make sure you didn't say something inconsistent. And you fucking failed. I will never understand people like you who do this. I never will. And one more thing before I go, Zoey. Go fuck yourself. I'm S-Man. And the next time we meet, I'll speak to you all next time.